Welcome to the Ref Room, hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans.
Broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
With your hosts, Scott Smokin' Sills and Brad Baumrock.
Live.
The Ref Room starts right now.
And now your host.
All right, welcome to the Ref Room, everybody. I am Scott Smokin' Sills, joined by my compadre, Brad Baumrock. We've got lots to talk about. We've just come back. Well, I haven't come back, but I got the new rules. Brad was kind enough to get those for us from USA Hockey, and so we've got some updates to share with you guys today, and of course, we're going to talk about it. So grab your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Get an extra one for Brad, because you know it's his favorite. And we're going to get down to it because there's actually a lot to cover today. So I'm excited about it. And even before we do that, though, you know, we always like to talk a little bit about, you know, NHL since we got playoffs going on. And, you know, everybody thought Montreal would be long gone by now. But there's a guy named Carey Price that's playing out of his mind. And everybody thought, oh, the Canadian teams haven't seen any good teams all season because they haven't played any of the American teams. But Carey Price is getting it done. What's your thoughts on that, Brad? I mean...
Yeah,
they win a Stanley Cup.
Hey, they're still in there, so you can't complain. I do enjoy that they were able to finally figure out that whole border issue for everybody, which, you know, we knew was going to probably happen anyways, but it's funny to talk about. But no, it's been interesting. And, you know, you had some teams that didn't like each other coming through, which was very interesting in the playoffs. And now you got teams that are playing and one that's got a goaltender that's just, you know, standing on his head every game.
It's really interesting because, you know, a lot of the general managers within hockey really felt that the era of paying for big name goaltenders and paying the high price for a goalie was kind of, you know, like passe. Like, you don't need to do that. You go get the scorers and the forwards, and, you know, the goalies will just keep you in the game. But I think maybe some people will think twice now, and maybe they do need to pay for good goaltending, and that the goaltenders are important like they used to be years ago. And I think Carey Price is going to raise the standards on the cost of goaltending across the league now.
I think a lot of people are going to start looking at goaltending differently, just like you said. And, if you really look at our youth programs, they've really started to look at goaltending and have more specialized goaltending schools. And,
yep.
The guys that are very good are starting to run these mini camps, and they're traveling around the country. And, everything's been offensive driven by our rule books from the youth levels up to the NHL. If you look at the NHL, they took the leg pads and the goaltenders, chest protective equipment, everything, and they made it smaller. In essence, they made the position more difficult. So the goaltenders are still racing to catch up. Now, there's a lot of great goaltenders doing it, but it's not the same. Patrick Waugh, if you looked at him, his pads were so wide and his chest protector was so huge. He took up a lot of the net. Now, if you look at the guys now, they're much smaller equipment wise. So they've
back and look at
them.
Go back and look at the goalies in the 70s. I mean, okay, so Tony Esposito was a little bit bigger probably than some of the goalies back then, and a little thicker in terms of with the equipment. But, when you go look at, like Ken Dryden, and you look like the guy's a skinny beanpole,
Yep.
Their arms, they have like zero protection on them. They got a chest protector, but the pads are narrow, the pads are short, everything is much smaller. I mean, they definitely increased the size of everything, which made it more difficult for the players, to score goals. And I think this is kind of a compromise because they do need the protection. I mean, the puck definitely travels a lot faster and a lot harder than it used to. An average player can just absolutely rip that thing with the technology that we have. And but well, it's going to be interesting. I think maybe the Blackhawks might need to be looking at goaltending position now. What do you think?
It's definitely going to be a hot topic.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks, one thing, I think a lot of people can agree with, when they were very, very, very good on their time, and they had a second goaltender on the ice, Nicholas Chalmerson.
Yep.
And the cap space just didn't allow for him to stick around, that, and he'd kill penalties, and he'd kill penalties for you. So, when you got a guy on the ice like that, it just really changes the game, and you miss him. But, they had some tough decisions, and they made the best that they could.
Well, we're still paying for our Stanley Cups. I mean, we got 3 Stanley Cups here. I mean, how cool is that? Not many cities can say that. And, it's definitely a tribute to the Blackhawks organization for getting that done. But it comes at a cost. And right now, we're kind of paying the price for that. So, hopefully, they'll get lucky and get some of the players that can really step up and make a big difference, and we have some guys that are doing that at this point. So, I'm going to look forward to next season, and the building will be full again. And I think that's going to be a big difference, too, for all the teams because they're going to have that energy level in there that just kind of takes them to another place. So, with that being said,
well, you
had
had
a lot of rules to talk about. So
you had a good comment, Scott, real quick before you get going there because you're talking about the NHL. So you might want to put it up there because somebody is disgusted with something in the officiating world.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It's right there. I can't put them up on the screen.
Oh, I'm not seeing it in the comments. So.
Oh well, somebody has a Facebook user, and because they didn't click the button.
Okay, so it's Mr. Hederman, and he says, "Can we discuss how trash the NHL playoff officiating has been?" Well, to be honest with you, I haven't been able to see the games because I've been pretty busy at night. So I've been hearing a lot about stuff. And when I see my Facebook feed, I've noticed that there's a lot of new uniforms for the NHL officials, and they generally represent the team colors for whoever they happen to do a better job for that night.
It has been. It's the world of memes has become.
Yes.
It's just opened up people's creativity.
I love the Pittsburgh ones that I saw, and then I saw the Boston ones, and now I'm seeing the Vegas Golden Knights with the referees with the gold helmets on, which is very cool.
No, I saw an article, and I think they summed it up the best. It's not that they're being missed; they're just not. Penalties aren't being called. I don't know what the stance is. I don't know, what they're being told, but that just seems to be the the way it is, and then all of a sudden there's like this flurry of penalties. It's very weird. So I don't know if it's just bad luck or what it is.
Isn't it playoff time? I mean, don't things change in the playoffs? Aren't you expected to play a little bit harder and take a little bit more in the playoffs? I mean, that's been the history of hockey for years.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with that. I wish they'd play more like that the rest of the season, but...
Well, I think you have one of the best comments, and I think people really need to take this into account and when they're thinking about this, and that is, you turned around and said that years ago, everybody was like, really? That's a penalty? Really? You're going to call that? The mindset was, there are no penalties. Yeah. It's a tough game. You play hard. You take the beating. And that's what wins you hockey games. You go in the corner and you get crushed and you know you're going to pay the price. And the guys that do that and win those battles are the ones that usually win a Stanley Cup. Well, now the mindset is, really, that's not a penalty? Why didn't you call that? Everybody's in a, soft society, basically, when it comes to hockey. They don't want the tougher sport being played. They want it to be tiddlywinks.
Well, if you really look at it, though, the tougher sport that we're referring to, that's where you're going to have more injuries through an 80-plus game season. So,
yeah.
If you're paying guys millions and millions of dollars, you don't want them sitting on the sidelines because, somebody cracked their head open.
Yeah. And the players are smart enough to know, they want to play the next game so that they can get their contract and be paid.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's a different world.
I get where both sides are coming from. I understand the fans' side because that's where I come from, and I enjoy.
Yep.
And then I understand the owners and players because not only that, too, do you want to be a player walking around with your noodle all scrambled?
Yeah.
And, it's a tough decision for everybody,
It is.
So, but all right. Well, anyways.
All right.
Back
With
to
that
the
being
rules.
said, some of these rules affect, how these things are being done and how they are called. So guys, let's do this in the comments section. Would you like us to go down like all the rules, the changes that we are aware of and kind of discuss them one by one? Or do you want us to take the major changes right now and we'll kick that off and then we kind of go back and cover some of the other stuff? So give me a 1 if you want to start from like scratch and go down the list. If not, give me a 2. If you want to hear a summary and then we'll go back to it, give me a 2 in the comments section. So a 1 or a 2. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button.
Go.
It helps us, okay? It helps hockey.
Well, hey, Scott, just to point out, we have a little adopted rule change, but this one is a little bit abbreviated from the full one that just came out from USA Hockey. So we're going to use this one because it's a little bit shorter. It kind of gets to the point a little bit faster. So yes, we understand that this isn't 100% what USA put out, but right. It's close.
The only thing is there is one rule change that was not on here that Brad noticed on another set of rules that we got that had like all the junior rules and everything else in there. So why don't we just kick that off and let's just cover that one rule real fast. And that is the standalone major is gone.
Correct. So they added verbiage that when you assess a major penalty, it's going to have a game misconduct with it. So
there's no more 5-minute slash. There's no more 5-minute high stick. There's nothing that's 5 minutes. You're gone.
Tripping, elbow,
whatever. So, it's major. It takes away some of the referees' discretion at game management a little bit.
Well, I think, Scott, the biggest situation I don't like with the major. Now, by the way, these are just our opinions, and I'd like to say that as a community, as a community, we're going to be playing with these rules.
Right.
So if you don't like it, that's fine. You can talk to people about it, whatever. But once we get on the ice, we have to enforce what's written.
The rules are the rules.
That's the way it works. And my biggest issue with the whole standalone major is slew footing. Slew footing is absolutely a 5-minute major, without a doubt. But there are a lot of slew foots that the player goes down, they're basically totally unaffected. And it's still, hey, we're not going to have this in the game. That's where that 5 minutes comes into play.
Yep.
But now I have to eject that player. Well, guess what? Sorry. Don't slew foot anybody.
Yeah.
Because you're going to go home.
It's going to be considered a more serious penalty than it already is, and it's a serious penalty in my eyes.
I agree.
I am definitely not a fan of the slew foot. It's one of the most dangerous plays out there, so I have no problem sending you home with 5 in a game for that. Now, on the other hand, we used to have maybe a 5-minute penalty on a slash on a breakaway. Guy kind of, gets you from behind and gives you a pretty good whack in the back of the legs. It's going to be a 5-minute penalty and the penalty shot. But now it would be a 5-minute penalty, game misconduct, and a penalty shot. So, I mean, that's a big penalty coming your way. You're going to have some coaches that will not be very happy with you when you make that call. But it will be the right call. They can't argue it now.
Luckily, you don't see a lot of the back to the legs where you're going to have a 5. It's normally a guy's trying to catch a guy and he jumps. And as he's flying through the air, he slashes the guy, in the hand and takes his stick off. I mean, that's a good, worthy standalone 5. But, luckily you don't see it too much where it's actually into the back of the legs. I mean, the good thing is sometimes too, when you're slashing at the hands, you don't always get the whole hand. When you get somebody in the back of the leg, you get them real good. So that's just my point on it.
All right, well, let's put up some of the rules, and we're going to get started here, everybody. So we're going to go from the top. I believe I got this set right. Yeah, okay. Yep. All right, so we've got, I don't know if you can see. You can't see body checking. A lot of this is language. So based on that, where can we start with this? Collision, competitive, abusive officials.
There you go.
All right, so let's start with abusive officials right here, guys. Go ahead, Brad. I'm going to let you kick this off.
Which one? Are you talking add specific language pertaining to banging the boards and identifies doing to celebrate legal or illegal?
Yeah, well, that's a changing definition. We've known about that for a period of time, but that is something that is going to change and be more well-defined. I think in Illinois, we allowed people to bang on the boards to start the game, like just some excitement. But we frowned upon anybody that, might, either get blown up and everybody cheers or, maybe gets tripped by that blue line that kind of stuck up 2 inches in the air and everybody is cheering.
Pull the blue line up, put him in the box.
Yeah. So that would be considered a penalty. We'll have to see what the actual definition is. But, it is something that we've been working with, for a period of time.
Well, what they're clarifying, Scott, is that you can cheer for your team. They don't want to say that you can't cheer when there's a goal or something like that, or
right. They
don't want you insulting your opponent. So,
exactly. Well, demeaning him. Yes.
Right. Well, and when a lot of those hits happen, the guy gets hit in front of the other team's bench, and all the players stand up and they lean over, and they're chirping at him and they're banging on the boards at the same time. So they're basically eliminating that. And, if you're a non-hockey person and you're watching hockey the first time and that happens, I would think you'd be kind of blown away by it. Like, whoa, why are those guys doing that? Like, so I kind of get where they're going with it. Plus, it's staying with the whole kids should be able to go play hockey and, not feel like they're being attacked.
Yeah.
So
we've got a lot to get through here, so we're going to have to move a little bit quicker on some of these. So can you see them clearly on your screen, or do you want me to run them down for you?
They're kind of tough for me to see because of how our connection works on this, but I can help you out.
So we've got body checking, incorporating, well, there's language there, but they are going to, a lot of it is just language. So let's get to some of the good stuff that's in yellow. All right, possession of the puck, possession and control of the puck. So they're changing some of the language, probably going to affect who's eligible to be hit versus who is not eligible to be hit. This will be a big one for us. I mean, it's a language thing, but, we've tried to take that blow-up check out of hockey where you don't have possession of the puck, and yet you still see a lot of that. A lot of the players still think they can do it, and they think that's a good hit. But if you don't have the puck and you don't have possession, you can't hit the player.
Correct. It redefined how possession and control works. So, because possession, it could... Go ahead.
No, this is just big. A lot of, as we talked about the language thing,
34 is the big one that you need to talk about right there.
Okay. I was just going to mention on 10 just about recklessly endangers. The language has been changed.
Okay,
and I think it's much more understandable for referees, players, and coaches to understand what is considered reckless and endangerment for the penalties, because sometimes there seems to be some gray area in some people's eyes that maybe, is that a penalty or not? So this should hopefully clear some of that up. All right, minor penalties.
Well, Scott, that right there, this recklessly endangers, okay? The big thing is, I've been on games before, and, the player gets just absolutely basically destroyed. And, they're down for a shortened period of time, but somehow they muscle it up, and they get up and they go over and they limp themselves to the bench. And then, they are probably sit there for half a period or something. And the coach is like, well, they're not injured. They stayed. Yeah. It's taking away that, they're not injured part. It's giving you the option that if they're recklessly endangering somebody, I think we can all positively identify that to where it gets bad, like a baseball swing to the head, but they totally miss. I mean,
right.
Some people would try and sit there and argue with you. Well, it wasn't an injury because he missed. Yeah, but did we need to be doing that?
The intent was there.
Right. So, it's one of those things, but they also, they want to make sure that we have the option. And I think it's the easiest way to redefine what this word injury means, which I believe that's how injury was supposed to be looked at, but they're just making sure it's in concrete now. That's it.
Okay. Minor penalties. Establishes shorter minor penalty recommendations for periods less than 20 minutes in length, excluding adults. So adults will continue, I'm leaving us up so everybody can see it, but adults will continue to have 2-minute penalties. But I believe what we saw before, the recommendation was anything 12 minutes or less as a period, which would probably be like mites, squirt, house league, would be minute penalties. Yep. I believe 12 to 18-minute periods would become minute-and-a-half penalties. And anything, so midget major, like AAA, playing 18 to 20-minute periods, they would still have 2-minute penalties. Yep. Now, there is a recommendation in there. I believe they can change the length of these penalties in terms of major penalty and misconduct penalty. Am I correct in what I'm saying there?
Well, no, what they did is ours doesn't have all the verbiage on it, but what they did is this is just recommendations, but the affiliate will ultimately still be able to alter those penalties.
So just like,
will have what we've had, any affiliate, yep, they'll be able to alter the penalties to what they feel would be satisfactory for their playing times. They laid it out because if you ever read the rule book, everything's always 2 minutes, Right. So they gave you some nice recommendations. So
the only thing, I don't have a problem with them reducing the penalty times. I think for mites and squirts, the lesser time period penalties are, it's like 20% of the period. Does a kid need to sit for a little stick trip, because little Johnny fell over for 2 minutes? Probably not. But it's going to be tougher for referees when you don't have a good scorekeeper. The scorekeeper is going to be more important because 1.5 minutes is going to be a lot harder for guys to calculate in their heads when they've got a challenged scorekeeper. So this will affect how we do things, guys. We're going to have to really be on our toes. You're going to see guys carrying calculators out there. They're going to be like, wait, I got to go check this for 1.5 minutes time. But that's probably the only thing I'm not crazy about with the 1.5 minute penalty. Okay, let's keep going here.
Calling of penalties would be your next one, buddy, I bet.
Yeah, let's go down here. Yep, calling of penalties. All right, calls for a face-off to take place in end zone of offending team when a penalty is assessed. And this is basically what the NHL does. I think we're all pretty familiar with that. So if you have a penalty call, it's going to come down into the offensive zone. If we have a coincidental, it's still a last play face-off, correct? I can't see that would change.
Well, it depends on how the coincidental was assessed, Scott.
Well, let's say we had two in the defensive zone. We had an offensive player and a defensive player get a penalty. I don't think we're going to move the face-off. Am I correct?
No, as long as the stoppage is because the second player took the penalty. The second player took the penalty at that stoppage. Then you're going to stay down there.
Okay.
What the second penalty has to be taken in order to cause the stoppage. Then it would stay at that last play. If you had a player that takes a penalty in their defensive zone, correct? Okay. And they pick up the puck, that stoppage is because of them gaining possession. Well, on the way to the box, the player that, was fouled on the other team comes by and cross-checks the guy. Well, now you have another minor there, and that actually would cause it to go down the ice because the stoppage wasn't caused by the coincidental penalty happening during the play.
Right. Okay.
So just so you know, let's keep that. It's also, if you have guys down on the ice and, you have a stoppage and two teams take, a two, and one guy takes a 10, but it's the offensive team, that stoppage, because it happened at the coincidentals and blah, blah, it all stays down in that zone. So just pointing it out.
Progressive suspensions. Ed knew that calls for coach to serve additional 3-game suspension for second abusive official game misconduct in the same season and being suspended until a hearing after the third. Wow, that's going to be pretty severe. So, coach gets tossed one time. If he gets tossed a second time, and that's probably pretty possible in the season if he's a hothead, that he will go twice, he's going to get a 3-game suspension, and after that, he gets a hearing. So, they're definitely doing what they can to take the abuse, away from the officials. All right,
which changes down, which is going to change here real quick underneath because abuse of the officials has changed, and I want to get your opinion on this one, Scott. I can read it if you want.
Incorporates the president's directive on hateful language into the proper location of the rules. Okay, we know about that because we've kind of been living with that. Allows the official to assess a game misconduct for second incident involving verbal abuse by team official without assessing another bench minor. I think this is probably a pretty good idea, but I think you're going to see more coaches getting gassed quicker. And, I'm not big on gassing coaches. You guys know that. I usually like to let them stew over there a little bit. But, if the guy is being a donkey, you can now send him. A lot of them know how to work the system. They used to be able to sit there and, they'd abuse you. They'd get their 2-minute penalty, serve the 2-minute penalty. That's done. And then they'd start right up again. Well, now you don't have to give them another 2 minutes. You can just send them. So, in a way, you're not penalizing the team because the coach could be getting the team penalized fairly consistently there. If you got a guy that's really out of control, and that affects the players, it affects the game, it's affecting his team. This way, he's just gone, and the team doesn't pay the price for it. The coach actually pays for his actions, which, it's not a bad thing. Do you think?
No, I think it's a good rule. You got it. What it's basically saying is, that here's your warning. You got one. That's it. We're done now. We're not going to be monkeying around with you any other way. So after you get your bench, you're going to have to approach the officials a little bit differently. And by the way, it's verbal abuse. Chucking a water bottle out there, you're still going to toss them, but still.
Yeah. Well, it's more of a zero tolerance for the coaches, which I don't think they really had as much of. They had multiple chances to try to behave themselves and stay there somehow. So that's I kind of like that rule. I think it's good, but I think officials will have to be mindful of that in the way that they,
that's an excellent
assess
point.
That rule.
That's an excellent point because now you're tossing a coach. Maybe he was only a problem twice in the game.
Yeah.
Now, do you need to gas him? I think that's why it gives you that ability, but it doesn't say it's automatic. So not in anything that I read. So just keep in mind, what that entails when they get thrown out, because we just read that part of,
it's going to be a lot more severe for them. And, you need to be mindful of the situation and enforce the rule properly. And there are guys that probably deserve it. And, during the course of the season, you don't know what kind of day they had. They could have had a terrible day at work and they're just, upset. Bottom line. But they can't be upset like twice at work because they'll be serving a 3-game suspension. I guess that's the best way to put it. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, changes reference to deliberate injury to recklessly endangers to better allow officials to judge the action that occurs instead of trying to determine whether the injury has occurred. I'm going to let you take this one, Brad.
So they're stating again that, in order to attempt to injure an opponent, you don't have to have an injury. That's how I'm reading it. And I agree with that because, like I said, the baseball swing,
yeah,
and you get the guy, but let's say you get him not too good, but, I think everybody knows what a baseball swing looks like with a hockey stick. It's pretty egregious, in order to use my thesaurus today. So they're giving you that option.
Is there. Yeah.
Right. And the intent to injure, there's all kinds of things that happen throughout a hockey game that, you could arguably say, well, it's an attempt to injure. Punching a guy in the back of the head. I know a lot of people can say that's an attempt to injure. It's not. It's roughing, but I get where people are going. Or if you want to go there, it's fighting. Technically underneath there, that you have to have one punch. But the shove to the head, that's head contact. Stuff like that. That's those little debates on to where you get. But they just want to redefine again. You don't have to actually injure the person. So that's the best part about it. I mean, that I foresee it. It makes it nice and clear for us that you don't have to have an injury.
I do want to go back to one here. Let's see. We did miss something here. Give me 1 second, and I'm just going to scroll back. So we're at 77 right now, but let's go. Let me go over here. There was one I wanted to mention back at 32, and this is regard to protective equipment. Eliminates the exception for adults that allows them to replace the helmet that has come off versus a stoppage. So if you're doing men's league and a helmet comes off, it is now a stoppage. It's no more, if the player doesn't get involved in the play and he gets his helmet. And, you can have this because you do have a lot of guys that don't put chin straps on at men's league at the high level. Don't ask me why, but, they all think
they should have a chin strap.
Yes, they should, but that doesn't stop them, it seems. And I don't think enough officials enforce that like they should. So I'm putting that out there. All right, we're going back. We were at 77.
Well, I can see where they don't need that anymore. Like, do men's league players need to really have the ability to replace their helmet? Like, your helmets come off. Just stop the play.
Stop play. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. All right. I got to keep moving here. All right. We are going down to, I had a question. I think it was 89. Delaying the game. Adds the note that specifies the goalkeeper can only cover the puck while in the act of playing goal. So you want to explain that one to me? Because I had a question on that.
I actually missed it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I did not. Can we reach back for better clarification?
Yeah, I think that's one we need to get some clarification on. Because when I read that, I was like,
What number was it?
Well, it's number 89. And it's delaying the game. It adds note that specifies the goalkeeper can only cover the puck while in the act of playing goal. So what I'm guessing that is, meaning, well, obviously he can't come out of the net over in the corner and cover the puck or go behind the goal line. That's always been a delay of game penalty. But does that mean
his privileged area?
Does that mean like he can't cover the puck on the side of the goal? Like usually, the puck's right at the side. You could say, well, you can cover that. I wonder if they're trying to eliminate that to speed the game up. Not sure. So that one we're going to have to kind of look at. All right, next I wanted to look at 93. Face-off locations. Call for an end zone face-off and defending zone of penalized team except for certain situations. Okay, so we kind of covered this a little bit, and that is puck goes all the way down. It's kind of the NHL rule, and it's been the college rule for a long time as well. So, get used to having an offensive zone face-off after a penalty.
What's your opinion on that, Scott? I'm just curious.
It. I think it adds to the game. I think it adds offense. I mean, you've given somebody a penalty. Well, why do you need to defend in that area? Let's look at a step further. Let's say, and I'll just take men's league for example. Let's say you're down a goal. and you're pushing hard at the end of the game, and now the guy gets you in your defensive zone and he commits a penalty. Well, now you may have to put the goalkeeper back in because the puck is in your half of the rink versus being all the way down. It gives you a chance maybe to pull your goaltender and have a little more offense. Plus, I mean, It just sets the tone. The penalty, you're going to start in the offensive zone. I like it. So I'm a fan of that.
I like it too. It makes that player think, though, too. Like you said, they're down a goal and you're in the offensive zone. It might be, it might stop them from slashing a goaltender or cross-checking somebody after the play or something, because now that penalty has become more important. Just to take it a step even further, there are some levels of hockey that when they come down, the offensive team gets to choose which side of the ice that face-off is taken on. NCAA changed that. So they're doing that, and also on icing, the offensive team gets to choose which side of the ice it'll be taken on.
Is that new? Because I don't. So how do they? I mean, how are you going to direct the official, the linesman who's flying around with the puck, where to go? What side you want the face-off on? I mean,
well, the guy that's got the puck and. Because I'm talking NCAA, so there's there's either 3 or 4 out there.
Right.
Well, is you're the linesman coming back to that side because you're going to be dropping on that side. The other linesman's getting the puck. You just ask. You go, hey, what side do you want it on? And then they go, hey, over here, and you go line up over there. And your partner brings you the puck. It doesn't really change much of what we do. It seems kind of crazy, but
when you think about it, we have, and it's not official USA hockey, but pretty much the norm is once you make, you have a whistle and you're going to the goalie and you'll point, in the direction that the faceoff is going to take place in. And I'm thinking this probably, as I'm just overthinking this, but I'm thinking, that probably started with the NHL, and I'm guessing that they did that for the TV cameras. So the TV cameras would know where they're going to set up for that face-off. So, if you came back and you pointed, the linesman would point over here, they would know that, camera would know, okay, we're going to have the face-off over there so they can get set and get their shot ready versus, oh, wait, the face-off's going to be over here. We don't know where it's going. I thought they were going to have it over here. So I think that's probably how that started, but I think it'll be more confusing. If you had an NCAA game being televised, it may be a little more challenging for the camera crews to get ready for that.
I'm not concerned about the camera crews.
I'm just putting it out there.
They don't concern me.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you for that, Brad. I appreciate your working with me here.
I just thought I'd put that out there for you. I really don't care.
All right. Let's see. Goals and assists. Any language that clarifies that is actions by attacking team to disallow goal entering the goal in any other manner other than stick. So do we have a language change here? Does this eliminate pucks deflecting off a skate and going in? Or is this just clarifying like you can't propel it with your, forehead, like I'm knocking the puck in with my forehead in there. I have to project it in with the stick. So maybe there's a language clarification, which I think would be a good thing. And I'm guessing that's what that would be. We
don't need to see Andrew Shaw's goal anymore.
Exactly. That's exactly the one we all refer to. All right.
Here, I can read it to you right now. I have the full one.
Oh, okay.
Adds language that clarifies a goal shall be disallowed as a result of actions by an attacking team that propels the puck into the goal by any means other than the stick. Also, it adds language from the casebook regarding a goal cannot be scored if the scoring team has an illegal player on the ice or the puck entered the zone illegally. Okay, so cool. Just some verbiage changes again.
All right. High sticks eliminates restriction on slap shots at 10 and under age classification. So,
all right. Go ahead, and then I'll give you my crazy opinion on it. But go ahead.
I'm all for it. You now see some kids that are squirt that can actually one-time the puck.
Okay.
AAA, at least at the AAA level, I've seen it.
A one-timer is a snapshot. It's not a slap shot.
Okay. Well, I would consider, puck being passed over and ripping it, and that would be a one-timer to me. The clapper.
Well, it's a
coming down.
one-timer, but it's not a slap shot. I mean,
okay. Well, the clapper's in play now, so
I'm just okay. Here's my only opinion. I'm just going to state it. That what benefit does a mite player have to being able to take a slap shot? I'm just asking.
Well,
that's all.
Yeah. I mean, little Johnny might automatically bring the stick up waist high or beyond just to try to push the puck forward, okay?
I get it. I'm just pointing it out.
I know, but at the skirt level, I mean, some of these guys that are AAA players can now shoot the puck. They can actually pretty well snipe a little one-time, with the one-timer, but the clapper.
I got you.
They got the clapper down, okay?
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm just pointing out the one good thing, Scott, that I like about this is, we're going to get to the other part, so I'll just leave it alone until we get to the other part.
Okay, that's fair.
They're both right there.
What did we go to? Did I miss something? 107.
Nope. You're right there.
You're right. Okay.
116.
116. Okay, I got to get to a different page. Okay, icing the puck. This is a big one. Okay,
and you can talk about that one and 132 at the same time. They're both on that same page.
132. Let me move it up so you guys can see that on the screen. Without 132
offsides. Eliminates
tag up offsides at all youth levels of play except high school. So these are probably two of the big ones, gang. Men's league stays the same. High school stays the same, which is JV and high school, so it's JV as well. Yep. But everybody else, all the way up to midget major AAA, can no longer ice the puck on the penalty kill, and they can no longer have delayed offsides. Now, I know that is going to be a major issue for a lot of the referees, and I'm not saying for me, but I'm just saying a lot of guys will have issue with this. Do me a favor, in the comments, can you give me a 1 if you like this new rule? And will you give me a 2 if you don't like the new rule? A 1 if you like the rule, and a 2 if you don't like the rule. And that is, can't ice the puck anymore.
So I'm going to go with what I was going to put out there, Scott, with when we went to the high sticks. The good part about this elimination of the high sticks is it's now clarified everybody across the board, because at one point here we had, you can't hit and mite, squirt, and pee-wee, but you can shoot slap shots and pee-wees. And then bantams, you can hit, you can shoot slap shots, you have delayed offsides, but you can't ice the puck. Midgets, you can do all the reverse. So it was just, it got, even for people that referee a lot, that can be kind of confusing to keep switching back and forth. So that would be the only thing that I like about that they eliminated that. It's just one less little age variance that you have to watch out for. But other than that, I still don't see it beneficial.
Did it change because they left high school alone? So high school can still do that. So now you're playing with two different sets of rules. So you're still going to be confused.
But you're only playing with, everybody except for high school is different. And then men's league and high school have the same rules. Okay. Everybody else plays under a different set. But now you're not sitting there doing all this. The only other different rule variation is you still can't hit in peewees. So remember that. So bantams are the only exception there where they can hit when the other levels can't. So
okay,
them and midgets. But
I do want to go back and look at this 127 kneeing.
Lots of twos
replaces. Yeah, I know. Brett puts a 3 in there. Don't really care. I'll just skate the game and call it. Yeah, I agree.
That is my 100% with you, Brett. Yeah. As a community, it voted on. It's that's what I'm going to enforce today. That's the rule book we chose.
Yep.
So in the essence of it, I don't care. We're going to play the game the way that it's supposed to be played.
I will just go out and say I think that the players will adapt to this fairly quickly at the better levels. I think it will be a problem with like a house league game or a one level up from a house league game. I think those games are going to take forever. I don't think they will adjust as easily. And I'm just going to be the devil's advocate on that, but that's my personal opinion. Mark says, go back to the old rules for all. Old-time hockey, Eddie Shore. Yeah, there you go. I'm sure a lot of people share your opinion on that too, Mark.
Oh no. I've just been handed the roster. Roster. It looks like they're in for a real grudge match type victory.
Right.
Unbelievable. Sorry. Good movie.
Let's look at this kneeing.
Yep.
Endanger adds match penalty option. Same thing with slashing. Adds a match penalty option. That's something that you didn't have before. Probably not a bad idea. I mean, you'd have to probably, if somebody takes the swing with the stick, up high, before you'd have to go with an attempt to injure. Now you can go with a slash and have it as a match penalty.
Yeah, it just gives you where it clearly is.
It makes more sense because before having to go with a attempt to injure, people are going to, that gives them some leeway to argue it. I think this is more clear cut.
Well, yeah, you can assess a match then without the attempt to injure. So, right. There are penalties that do happen that are worthy of a match that, the player might not have attempted to do it. There are things that happen. I get where people want it more defined, so where you can do that. So yeah. I understand that 100%.
All right, let's look at this last page here.
Yep.
142 tied games adds reference and guidance for shootouts. So USA Hockey has now acknowledged that there are shootouts available for games, or a lot of the leagues have been doing this, a lot of the tournaments have been doing it, and it's always been whatever they wrote up as far as the rules go. So now we will actually have some guidance as to how that will play out. I wonder if they've got for the shootout, are they going to have an overtime clause for like 3-on-3 for 5 minutes? Are they going to go a step further? Not sure. So we'll have to wait and see what they decide with that. All right, 148 was the next one. Mm-hmm. This is a big one, guys. That's
a big one.
Yeah. This reduces the 5 and 15 penalty rule to 4 and 12, excluding adults. Oh, why would they exclude it for adults? Now that
they've always been excluded.
Yeah,
you just got 5 penalties. You were tossed out of the game.
Well, hopefully by the time they get to the 5th, you already tossed them out. But they've gotten a GFO. But
hang on. In the 15, who's the coach? The guy bringing the beer cooler? Or?
Yeah. Yeah, but, in a lot of the men's league rules, they would go to a running clock at that point. They said if you hit 15 penalties, then, we're going to run the clock. So this would have taken it down to say, well, at 12 penalties in a game, we'll run the clock on you. I don't think that would be a bad idea. How many people agree with me on that? Anybody? Give me a 1 if you agree with me on that. What I'm saying is they should do it for adults. And, you get a guy that gets 4 penalties, he's gone, and 12 penalties on a team in a game, we run the clock. That's a 1.
Go on there and put -1.
If it's a 2, that means you want him to stay there and make your life miserable for the rest of the night. Your call on that one. Okay. Major penalties updates the language to reflect changes proposed to eliminate standalone major penalties. We kind of covered that, so that is another big one.
Because it wasn't the interesting part about this, Scott, is it's not. This is listed later, so that's why we didn't see it.
Yeah.
Than what is actually published on USA. So.
Yeah,
and it's not. I didn't highlight it yellow. We didn't get it highlighted yellow.
I've got some notes I made on my copies I've got in my hand. So we talk major face-off locations. So allows for attack zone face-off at any time an attacking player attempts a shot of goal and puck goes out of play. So this is more along the college rule. So any shot that's taken will now be inside the zone. So here's my next question with regard to this. I'm assuming, and I should never assume, but I'm assuming that means even if you're outside the blue line and you try to fire the puck in and it gets deflected and it goes out, that now the puck will actually come down into the zone. Is that correct, Brad, or am I wrong in my thinking there?
Here, I'll simplify it for you. Right now, before this rule change, if you shot it from center ice, I don't care where, you could say the far blue line, and you hit the crossbar and it went out of play, where would the face-off be?
If you shot it, it hit the crossbar, it's in the zone.
There you go. You answered your own question.
Yeah.
Except for the extent there, you'd have to think about icing in play.
Okay.
Even though it's a shot on net, but you're still
That's
icing.
one we're going to have to, that's a new one we're going to have to get used to. Now, the one that I expected to be in here that I don't see.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and, well, I guess I'll just
Go ahead.
this up. The
Fire
one that
it
I
up.
expected to see in here was that the stick above the shoulder would just come back a zone. And that I don't see that in here. So I was kind of surprised that didn't happen. There was talk of that, and I know it passed the committee, and apparently they left it. So you can crunch little Johnny in the offensive zone, and all we're going to do is take the puck back out to the neutral zone. But you reached up, you touched the puck, it's going all the way down.
But they changed that. They changed the penalty, so now when you take a penalty, it goes all the way down the ice. So now it actually makes sense now.
Actually, you're right. I didn't think about that. That's right.
It didn't make sense before where I can high stick a guy in the zone and it just comes outside.
Exactly.
But yet if I hit it high stick out of the zone, it goes all the way down the ice.
Right.
So now they're linear in the face.
Well, we could have the coincidental situation at that point. Little Johnny got crushed, and now somebody comes in and a couple guys crush little Johnny's crusher. Now the puck's going to stay inside. But yeah. Anyway, that's a good point. I didn't really think about that one, but it makes a lot of sense.
No, and I totally agree with how it didn't make sense before. 100%.
Yeah. I mean, it really doesn't. And I don't know if you guys can see this, just the way the screen sets up, but it's for adds a new standardized discipline policy that establishes procedure and minimum penalty standards for match penalties. So let's talk about that a little bit, Brad. Does that mean match penalties? I saw something earlier in there about match penalties.
If you go back, it clarifies that you're going to get the next full game and yada yada. It's in there. You can read a little more in depth.
Yeah, it requires that you get at least one game. Is that correct? In what I read before, that you get a minimum on a match penalty of one game. Well, so I don't know if they're considering that for a tournament or for a playoff situation where you're still going to absolutely sit a game for sure.
Yeah, you're going to sit the next game. It says
there's an overturn on the match penalty, you're still going to be down for a game. Let's look at a couple of the other comments we have.
That's a paperwork issue.
When would you have a hooking match penalty? Max wants to know. Well, Max, you should ask that because you were at the USA hockey camp and you could ask your instructor that and see what they said. But I guess you would have a match penalty. You could have that if, let's say, the guy brought the stick up around the neck and pulled somebody down. It's still a hook, technically. It's probably more head contact than anything. Maybe just a vicious pull down where the guy gets, maybe a trip situation where he almost sticks the stick right into the guy's skate and just rips it out from underneath him. You could have a match penalty in that situation. That guy could be really seriously hurt in that situation. So I guess, do you have anything else that you would consider that might be a hooking match penalty?
I'd suggest go look in your rule book.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. All right. Keith David says, I understand that they are trying to develop better hockey players, but it's going to kill the flow of the game, at least until the players become used to it. And I look forward to more skating. Well, Keith, I mean, the players seem to adjust pretty quickly. I know they do a lot of these like showcase events and tournaments where they actually go in and they do make some rule changes, minor changes, and let the players play under those rules to see how it works. So they've actually seen, like, these rules have been tried out and they've been tested, and they see that the players within a matter of minutes or matter of a couple games, they adjust. And I will tell you, the AAA tournament that was in town this past weekend, which was Pee Wee Major, which I guess we no longer have Pee Wee Major. We only have, that would be would that be a U11 or that would be a U12, and then you have U13, which was a minor bantam.
Yeah, it's minor bantam. 11s and 12s are Pee Wees.
I thought they were eliminating using the words Pee-wee. I thought they were all going to go
Well, I'm just telling you that's what. Well, yeah, they've just redefined it again.
Yeah, but anyway, so it's a Pee-wee major basically. But they played with being able to ice the puck on the penalty kill, and they played with tag up offsides. Now, I think it was harder for them to learn to ice the puck on the penalty kill than anything. I think it took them 3 or 4 games to kind of figure out how that works because they're so used to having to control the puck and not shoot it down the ice that the first couple games they don't do it. They're like, we can't do that. And then by game 5 or 6 that weekend, they figured it out and they get the puck down the ice. So they do adjust. Now, as far as the tag up or the delayed offsides goes, they're good at not being offside at that level. The AAA kids, they know what to do. They're smart. They're great hockey players. They have the sense. They know what they're supposed to do. So, it just makes the game kind of move nicely for you because if they were offsides, like, oh, okay, we can still get back on side, and they stop almost, and they're really good about it. I'm sure, again, everybody will adjust accordingly, and it'll be a smooth transition. It'll take a few games. In a couple weeks, they'll be really good at it, just like they've gotten so good when it comes to icing the puck on a power play. They don't ice it. They've learned to use the angle of the boards, so they send the puck out at a 45-degree angle and bank it off the boards, and it doesn't make it all the way down, or they've learned to flip the puck high in the air. And, get it out over the defensive zone and the thing gets back to maybe the far blue line. So, they adapt, they learn.
Well, yeah, they're being taught different skill sets too, though, Scott.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. It's not always players don't always have these great, wonderful ideas. It's a taught behavior, a lot of it. So, if you teach your guys to angle it, they're going to angle it instead of try and dump it down the ice. So, the tag up offsides has been a long debate for years. There was something that we did many years ago that if the puck came out of the zone, you could shoot it back in as long as your players weren't beyond the top of the circles. Okay, does that make sense? So they can't be any further into the zone. But yet, even though you shot it in, we would put our arm up, just like we would for tag up. But you could never go back into the zone after everybody left. You had to wait at the blue line.
Right.
So, this has been something that's bounced around for, 15, 20 years. So, doesn't surprise me when we revisit it.
Even the delayed offside is still kind of like that. And the reason I say that is, yes, you could still be in the zone and you could be deep in as long as you're not in play. But typically, we are trained that once a player is pursuing the puck and they're offsides, once he hits the top of the circle and beyond, you're going to stop play anyway for a safety issue so that he doesn't go in and blow somebody up in the boards while they're offside.
Right.
That's what I was taught in the ADP program. So that's been my kind of rule of thumb. Once they hit the top of the circle, shut it down.
Well, you should shut it down in any possibility that you're going to have contact. Because why would you allow that play to continue?
Well,
could you imagine having to call a penalty for a delayed offsides?
Yeah, I got you. I see where you're going with that, but typically we're looking at that hit that's going to occur down in the corner. You're shutting it down to eliminate that situation. If you've got that much, proximity that close in the offside situation anyway with the puck, you're going to be shutting it down. So, that's just the way it would be.
You should be.
Yeah.
Because God forbid you have a delayed offsides.
Yeah, and somebody gets crushed.
But it's not going to be
bad.
It's not going to be a problem except for in high school. Yeah, so in men's league.
Right. So men's league will continue on as it always does. All right, couple things housekeeping here.
Yep.
We've got the Mark Gore Memorial Golf Outing, and that is going on Friday, July 23rd. Now, we got a couple updates because we have some really nice prizes that have been made available to us. And I don't have the picture of that up here, but the big is it the rolling Yeti cooler or is it just a Yeti cooler? Why don't you clarify that?
It is the
It's the Mac Daddy.
People on the committee got together. Jack Razlowski, myself, Carl Sassolino. There's been some other people on the emails. Just forgive me if I didn't put anybody in there. But no, we made a purchase. So we're going to have some raffle tickets that are going to be able to be bought. And the prices we've already negotiated out. We just want to get one more person's opinion on it before we get going. So that'll be in a grand raffle. And then there's an Odyssey putter that's going to be coming out. So that'll be in the grand raffle. And then
okay, so let me just clear something up. You can't have a raffle unless you're a charity. So it's a drawing. It's a prize drawing.
Sorry.
So I want to be the legal disclaimer here and make sure we all are aware that it's just a prize drawing. It's not a raffle.
You are correct. Thank you, Scott.
Yes.
So,
yes.
But no. So, but anyways, all the profit that we make on any of this is going to go to Puck Cancer.
Nice.
It's
going to a charity, so then we're right. Good. It is a charity, so that's perfect.
Yeah, we're not going to keep any of the money afterwards. It's all going to go to Puck Cancer. So we decided to do the drawing raffle, whatever we're calling it today. Now,
no, that's awesome.
And invest into the cooler so that we could get a really good prize and hopefully make more money for Puck Cancer in the long run. So the golf is cheap. It's $55 a golfer.
Yeah, it's a bargain, and it's a really nice golf course. If you guys didn't join us last year, it was a wonderful day. Like, it's a nice place. They treated us very well. We had, great atmosphere, great weather, adult beverages afterwards, the whole 9 yards. It's a great day. Camaraderie is amazing. Yeah. You owe it to yourself. I mean, even if you're not a golfer, I know one of the guys said he's not a golfer. He'd go buy clubs just to hang out with us for the day. And that's the right attitude, because I got
something for that. So call Bloomingdale Golf Club. You might be able to rent clubs for the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think of that until yesterday.
There's plenty of places, the pro shops rent clubs, so you can rent clubs. You can even go to a golf shop probably and rent a set if you need to. But yeah, they will have rental clubs there, so you don't even have to buy clubs to do it. And by the way, used clubs are pretty cheap anyway, so if you did want to get a set and you want to start playing, that's the way to go. You can get a set pretty cheap. Call me, I'll hook you up.
You're probably going to need to buy a lot of balls, though, if you're just starting.
Yeah.
Pointing that out.
And for those of you that need balls, go online. They sell used balls, okay, like lost balls that have been found, and they're like brand new, and they're at a pretty significant discount because golf balls are expensive now. But that's my little golf tip for you guys that are new to golfing. But anyway, $55, it's a bargain, and it's a great day. Come on out, enjoy it. And, we're going to look forward to it. Brad and I are going to be playing golf. So, I've not played golf with you before, Brad. So, buckle up your seatbelt, buddy.
I don't know.
Are you good? Are you any good?
I don't know what I call doing it, playing golf, but
golf, playing golf.
You know what? I'd refer you to the Robin Williams skit on golf there. Well, comedy acts. So if anybody ever hasn't seen that,
I know that one. I live by Caddyshack. Okay. You'll get nothing and you'll like it, okay? That's my favorite line in life. You'll get nothing and you'll like it.
Cannonball. All right, right back over here,
But that hat looks great on you, Brad.
You should get a free bowl of soup. Looks good on you, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to kind of wrap it up here. The hour has gone rather quickly. We appreciate everybody joining us. We are going to be celebrating our 1-year anniversary in 2 weeks, Brad.
2 weeks. Yep.
2 weeks. The show has been on for a year. Brad thought it would last 3 weeks. Probably should only lasted 3 weeks, but we're still here.
So if anybody, we should probably, after we get past the year, Scott, we should probably pull that show down in the second one, because if you go watch it with that the echo issue that we had with the
audio it was brutal. Some of the guys were like, I can't listen to this, but
the bad part,
stuck with us.
Sounded fine to us.
Yeah, that was the bad part. It did sound good to us. We couldn't tell that it was echoing coming out of there. Echo cancellation, I guess, wasn't working at that point. But the software that we used was so new back then. I mean, there's been so many changes, and we added all the graphics and all the cool stuff that we've done. So it's been fun doing it, and we're glad you guys participate every week. We love each and every one of you. Love working with you guys. Love the game of hockey. So thank you for that, and thank you for all the support. Some of you guys have been so generous with us to help support the show because we have covered the cost of this, Brad and I, together for a year now. And so your generosity has helped us a little bit, and we really appreciate it. And more importantly, we just appreciate you guys joining in the conversation because that's what makes this fun. And, it's a community, and we share a lot of the same thoughts and views, love and passion for hockey and the game and refereeing and moving from player to referee or whatever the case may be. So it's been really cool. So we'll do the 1 year anniversary in 2 weeks. And I think we're going to put together a show, if I'm not mistaken, on how to register to become a USA Hockey official. We've talked about this, and, we definitely need referees for next year. So that's on our agenda to get that done so that anybody that wants to become a ref, if you have somebody that's a friend, you can just turn them on to the show. They can go to YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, watch the replays, and they'll get all the information that they need to join us in what we love doing. Yep.
Sounds
yep.
good.
Okay.
No, I
and then you wonder why I keep talking all the time because it's like dead air if I don't just keep talking.
I got no. Well, I was looking at the registration and I was trying to figure out if there was a way that I could just live register myself because that's the one thing I just haven't done it yet and just go through it while we're on here live. But I don't think I can do that because there's too much personal information on there.
Well, I think we could do a dummy registration and keep moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And blur it all out.
Yeah, you and I will talk about that. There might be a way to do that. Maybe we could even work out something with USA Hockey so that, we're going to do a dummy registration and we don't screw anything up. But that might be a good way to do it. So let's see if we can make that happen. I'm sure they'll work with us. They love us, right? I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
I just felt like I was going to make you sit there just for the heck of it.
Yeah, I know. Then I'll just keep talking. And then everybody goes, he talks over Brad a lot. Well, that's because Brad doesn't respond sometimes. Is there a delay? Is there a delay between the conversation? I don't think there is, actually.
I don't think so. Every once in a while it happens, but nope.
No, it's really good.
All right, Scott.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Have a great week. Let's play this to get out of here.
Join Scott Smokin' Sills and Brad Baumrock every Wednesday for Ref Room. It's hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans. Join in the fun every Wednesday at noon. You can check out the replays on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. That's the Ref Room every Wednesday with Scott and Brad. Two guys that love to talk hockey.
When one responds, yes.
Oh, there you go.
Have a great week, Brad. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for getting the rules together. Thanks for joining us. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday at noon. Hit the subscribe button and hit the like button before you